Now, when I look in hindsight, after exactly 18 years, um, after my son was born, who I love so dearly, who has and is still a blessing in my life. When I think of the whole experience of falling pregnant as a teenager, what I wish could have happened was that I wish my parents, even though they were there for me financially, supporting me throughout, especially when I went to study, they took care of my son as their own. But when I look in hindsight, after dealing with this trauma, after confronting it, after identifying it as a trauma in my life, what I understand is that what didn't happen that I wish could have happened was that there were things I wish my dad could have spoken to me about. And believe me, I'm not judging him, because after getting insight and understanding, I think I had a conversation with him last year. He was telling me about how he grew up. That revealed so much to me. I got to understand how they couldn't be there for me in that way, because their upbringing was tough, and it influenced how they brought us, their generation, they carried some of the things from their generation to from their parents' generation to theirs. So when I had a conversation with him, in my heart, I felt a sense of understanding and compassion for him, and I'm not blaming him for him not being there. But what I could have wished for him is that if he could have sat me down, especially after finding out that I'm pregnant, after processing the emotions of anger and frustration, to come back and sit me down to have a daughter-daddy talk, because believe me, I never thought I had those issues until it was revealed to me by Holy Spirit. One time I was in prayer and God revealed that to me. I never thought I suffered from that, because I grew up in a family where my mom and my father were present, and I thought I thought it was functional, yet there was a dysfunction in there, The fact that they were there didn't mean that my dad in particular, it didn't mean that he was present, because when I think about it, growing up as a kid, he was there. But the problem started when I was getting into teenage years, He was overprotective, and we never had those talks. Suddenly we didn't go to town to buy ice cream. It stopped there, and I never got to understand. So I understand where the daddy-daughter issue stems from. So what I wish my dad could have spoken to me about was that when it comes to men, you must just know that love is not enough, Love is not enough, and even men themselves don't know what they want. Sometimes they're confused, If only he spoke to me concerning how to deal with men, affirm me with love. Him telling me that he loves me, that would have, not just with actions, but verbally, because I think there's something that happens between a father and a daughter relationship. So I wish so much that could have taken place. But I'm also not blaming him. I'm understanding him. That is why I'm here, speaking this out, relating my personal story to the whole world, is that they take note of such things, because at that point when I found that I was pregnant, it was traumatic for me. I wish my dad could have said, this should not define you. I forgive you. Forgive yourself as well. And let this mistake not define who you are, but let it be a defining moment in that you learn from it. Obviously he did that with actions, but it was never verbalized. And I feel that there's a wound in me that was never treated. It was always opened, and that led to me seeing the world differently. That traumatic experience that was still in me, in my body, I carried it throughout. It influenced my relationships. It influenced how I perceive the world. Even the fact that I was overcompensating came from the fact that nobody came to me to say, we forgive you, learn from this and be a better woman. So for me, it's just to call society, especially in our Black communities, such experiences are traumatic for both the parent and the child. So what I would suggest is that if they can, they must go to therapy together to address this and process their emotions and their feelings, so that they move from the place of being hurt to a place of healing and a place of rebuilding and recreating their futures. And again, when it comes to society, there's no safe place. There's no safe place when you're pregnant and you're a teenager. Even in churches, some churches, I'm sorry to say, but some churches are the ones that actually expel these girls, and I find it to be very sad, because this is a place that is meant for them to feel safe when they don't know where to turn to. But the church, they tell them that they can't be part of the church because they've shamed the church. Even parents, So my call is that, can we change the narrative? Can we change the narrative surrounding the stigma that is always projected to teenage pregnancy? And again, hear me very well. I am not condoning it, and I am not endorsing it, because I understand that it is very wrong. And I also get that for me, it was a mistake, but thank God I've forgiven myself and I've healed from that place. And that has brought so much light into my life, even going forward. Unfortunately, what the pregnancy did, it escalated to other unfortunate events, because I couldn't deal with the trauma of it. And then, because I was still running away from myself, I went into other things that I was not supposed to go into. If only I had somebody to talk to. If only there were people, who were there I could go to. I understand now that there are structures. There are structures that are there, organizations that are there, but I feel like it's important that it starts at home. it starts in the family, because if you come from a very solid family that affirms you, no matter what the world can tell you, you can stand. You can have a thick skin, you can stand courageous, and you can always overcome. So for me, that's the whole lesson that I'd like for people to have concerning the issue of teenage pregnancy.